So I'm waiting on a load, and yeah, I kind of scratched myself earlier. I figured while I'm waiting, there's something I wanted to talk about. It's a little bit different than what I typically talk about. I mean, it still kind of has to do with trucking, but you know, it's a little bit about, I wouldn't say like a bigger issue, but just a situation that seems to be kind of going on these days. And it all kind of stems from a video I stumbled across on YouTube. You know, okay, I don't know how many of you guys have heard. Okay, there's a group out there that's called the Sovereign Citizens, right? And it's an actual group that there's these. You can Google all this shit about these people, but basically, it's like this group of people in the U.S. I get, you know, that, and probably elsewhere, that they see themselves as like free citizens, and that the laws of the land they're not subject to regular laws. They're not subject to local and state and even federal laws. That they're governed by the Constitution, the original Constitution of the U.S. and all this shit, and that they could do whatever the fuck they want. Have you ever seen a video of anybody who gets pulled? It's the biggest ones that they anytime they get fucked with by a cop, they're the one they always got the window cracked, and they're always giving the cops a hard ass time and shit like that. You know, I do not consent to a search, and under the rules of federation, blah blah blah, color of law, and there's a whole bunch of videos you can find of these fucking people. Now, there's also a lot of people out there that probably don't identify as a sovereign citizen or part of this group. You know, there's a lot more people that they kind of go off of this. It's whenever I get pulled over or I come in contact with a law enforcement officer, it's kind of like I have certain rights and I know my rights and stuff like that. There's a lot of videos of those people too, because they always record anytime they get pulled over. You know, and I feel like they get pulled over more often than the average person because, you know, they don't do what they're supposed to do. Their stickers are out, their fucking registration, insurance, and shit is out, whatever. But then they're speeding and they come in contact with a cop and they go on the defensive, you know. So they kind of start acting suspicious, you know. You're gonna find I don't agree with this shit. You know, these people like, you know, you have rights and, you know, just crack the window, and they can't do this, and they can't tell you to turn your camera off and all this shit. Yeah, maybe fucking so. Maybe, you know, I have the right to do this, that, and the other. You know, but, you know, just because something is not illegal doesn't mean you should fucking do it. Just because you have the right to do something does not mean you should fucking do it. You know? There's a radio show I like listening to, and to quote one of the guys on that show, he said, I think they were talking about this. You can go in your breakfast room, your dining room, whatever, every morning if you want, stretch out in front of the window and just bend over and take a shit on your carpet if you want to. If you want to, you can. You could take a big fat steaming pile of shit right on your carpet if you want to. You have the right. You're in the privacy of your own home. It's your carpet, right? You have the right to do it. It's not against the law for you to do it. But that doesn't mean you fucking should. Now you got a pile of shit on your floor, which, you know, you got to clean that up, or you could be stepping in it and flies and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying? You have the right to do that, but then you've caused yourself consequences you didn't need to fucking cause. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're going to get pulled over for speeding or some silly bullshit, you know, you're going to give the cop a hard time? You know, like, you know, no, I do not consent to a state. First of all, you're acting suspicious, so they're going to start looking for PC. They're going to start looking for probable cause to fuck with you. They're, you know, criminals act like that. Criminals don't want to show you their ID. They don't want to tell you their fucking name. They don't want you searching their shit. That's what criminals do. Now, there's a lot of people out there who say, well, you know, just because, you know, that's not good enough. You know, you don't have to, just because you don't consent to a search doesn't mean you're a criminal. That's right. No, it doesn't. Just because, you know, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you don't want to help the officer out, it doesn't mean you're actually committing a crime and shit like that. No, it doesn't. But let's be fucking logical. You know, look, there's the way things are, and then there's the way they should be. They ain't always the same fucking thing, right? So, yeah, no, if you don't consent to a search, you don't want cops going... Look, I get it. If a cop wants to search your shit, you don't want a cop going through your trunk and going through your backpack and your glove box and center console and pulling all your shit out, and you had everything organized the way you wanted it, and they're going to be fucking all your shit up. You know, you may have something that's private. It's not illegal, but you don't want someone to see. I get it. And then if they don't find nothing, they're probably going to leave all this shit out for you to put away. It's a pain in the fucking dick. I get it. You know? I mean, at the very least, if they really want to go down that avenue, if it was me and I didn't have any drugs or anything, and they were really insistent on searching my car, I said, look, let's just make this easy on you and me. Just go ahead. If you got a canine available, get a canine out here. Have them, you know, smell around the truck or the car, or whatever you drive, your personal car, most likely, stuff like that. It's a little bit different. I don't want to say you lose your rights when you become a truck driver, but there's things that are different, because then you don't just fall under state and local laws. You fall under federal laws that govern commercial drivers and commercial vehicles, and there's more strict laws when it comes to a commercial vehicle in interstate commerce than it does your personal vehicle at home. But nonetheless, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, I've said it before in another video, you know, if you just make that guy's job a little bit fucking easier, you know, and just don't put him through a bunch of fucking bullshit. I'm gonna need to see your supervisor and blah, blah, blah. You're just like, you know what they're thinking in their head? Because look, cops are people just like us. They're out there trying to make a check. They're doing the fucking job, you know. Depending on where they work, they probably make a shitload less money than you anyway, you know. So if you're ever being fucked with by a cop, just keep that in mind. They're a fucking government employee of the local or state government, or maybe even federal government, but they probably make a lot less fucking money than you do. I know most of them make less money than I do, you know. So just think about that. Like, well, yeah, you know, you may have the authority, you got the lights on your car, you could write me a ticket, but at the end of the day, you know, like, look, I got the money to pay that ticket, motherfucker. You know, I make more money than you do. You know, you make $4,000 a month gross. You know, I do better than that. But, you know, look, I mean, I have respect for law enforcement officers, though. You know, I show them respect, and I get it in return from them. You know, and in every case, I've had one or two cops be a little bit of an asshole to me, but it was within reason. You know, like, I had an old car where I got pulled over once, because he had his lights on, but I didn't see him. I didn't really know what he was doing, but I was supposed to yield to him, and he was trying to get by, and because I didn't yield to him, he actually pulled me over, and the window on my car didn't roll down. It's a piece of shit car, and I opened the door, and he pushes it closed as soon as I open it. I'm like, whoa. And he's like, roll down your window, don't open your door. I was like, well, the window doesn't work. He's like, okay, go ahead and open your door. You know, and I told him, I said, sorry about that, man. I didn't mean to startle you. The window doesn't roll down. He's like, that's okay. He's like, you know, it's just, you know, you never never want to open your door on an officer that's approaching your vehicle. You know, it startles us, and, you know, we don't know what you're going to do. So I get that. I understand that, you know. It is what it is. But I'm kind of going off on a tangent a little bit. Basically, I saw a video on YouTube. You can find it. It's got a fuckload of views. It's out there, okay? There's a guy, I don't know who he is, and I think he drives for Swift. I'm not going to hold that against him, but I'm pretty sure he drives for Swift, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the fuck you drive for. He went through a border patrol inspection station. The federal government requires these stations to, you know, the border patrol to have these inspection stations, either stationary and permanent or temporary surprise stations, on major highways leading to or from the Mexican border. Or, I don't know, maybe the Canadian border. I haven't seen one, but the Mexican border, the southern border, because that's where they have the biggest problem with, you know, illegal immigration, people coming over the border illegally, right? They're required to. So this guy was probably at the one in Laredo. I've been through it many times. There's also a couple in the Laredo area, and then there's a few of them up and down I-10, you know, in different highways. In Eagle Pass, Texas, which is west of Laredo, there's one down there too, and they got a few surprise ones here and there. You know, but he's probably coming through Laredo. look, I mean, you pull through, what they're not really looking for truck drivers as much as they are looking for personal vehicles, people with Mexican license plates, or people that, you know, look like they're, you know, of that ethnicity. Maybe they got a whole bunch of bags and, you know, suitcases in their car, you know. They're trying to make sure everything's legit. If you're legit, you ain't got shit to worry about. You're not carrying drugs and all your papers are in order and all that shit, you know, then they got nothing to worry about. You know, they may have the dogs smell your car and stuff like that, make sure you're not running drugs and, you know, people across the border. When it comes to trucks, I think really what they're looking for, you know, you pull through, ask them if they ask you, hey, are you an American citizen? You got anybody with you? Yes, sir. No, sir. Just a dog or whatever. You know, if I have my trainee, I'd say it's just me and him. You know, and, you know, I'd say I'm an American citizen and he needs to answer for himself that he's an American citizen. So, okay, have a good one. All right, thank you, sir. You know, now, I mean, if you are Hispanic, you know, and you look like you're Hispanic, you know, they say, you know, and they ask you an American citizen. I mean, say you're from Texas, say you're from Oklahoma or Illinois, whatever, but you look Hispanic, you know. You know, hey, you American citizen? Yes, I am. Can I see your driver's license, green card, or passport? You know, or you just tell them, yeah, you know, I'm on a work visa, or I got a green card, or here's my state issued driver's license. Okay, here you go. Have a nice day, sir. That's all it is. It's all it is. It's fucking all it is. But there's this guy in this video. You can find it. You can find it and tell me what you think. This guy. He's in a truck. He pulls up to the border. He's got his phone down here, recording him too, because he knows what he's about to do. He knows all the shit he's about to bring upon himself. He wants to catch it all on video. You know? He pulls through the Border Patrol inspection station. And, you know, the officer asks him, this Hispanic officer, Border Patrol guy, he's got the green uniform on and everything. How you doing, sir? Are you an American citizen? I wish not to answer. Are you an American citizen? No, I choose not to answer. And this guy's like, you know, well, I'm just, are you an American citizen or not? Like, no, I choose not to answer. Why would you choose not to answer? What, because it's your right not to answer? Sure, it's not your right. Of course it's, yeah, sure. You don't have to answer, I guess. You know, I would assume, I don't know all the laws there and that pertains to that situation, but I would say, no, you don't have to tell him that you are an American citizen or not. You need to understand, though, that is their job. That is what they're there to do, is to check if people are American citizens or not. Fuck me. Everybody knows it goes through them inspection stations, even if you're not an American citizen, even if I'm a German citizen or an Australian citizen, but I've got, you know, an American accent, I could say, yes, I am. And they're probably not gonna check my shit. I could just go. You know, I'm driving a truck. Time is money. I want to get this load down the road. I want to get as many miles down the road as I can before I got to shut down and make money. Why am I going to try to cause these fucking problems for myself? Especially when I am an American citizen and all I got to do is fucking say yes. You know, shit. It's ridiculous. So, of course, they say, okay, we'll go ahead and pull up there to the... I think they bring the supervisor out first. And, you know, he says, you know... How much time I got left in this video? You know, they have the supervisor come out and he's like, hey, American citizen, blah, blah. And he's like, I choose not to answer. And they're like, all right, fuck it. Pull up to the secondary station and they're going to have to conduct their inspection. They don't want to conduct that fucking inspection. Yeah, it's their job, but it's just like anything else. It's like, man, see, they know that this guy, they already know. Most law enforcement officers, they know this kind of person. They're probably not doing anything illegal. They're probably not. But because he's trying to go down the he wants to do things the hard way, well, I'm going to have to be out there in the sun and deal with this bullshit. And, you know, it's going to, you know, and it's pointless. We're not going to find anything on this person or in his truck that's illegal. We're not going to find anything. But we are required, as part of our job, to go through this fucking inspection that he's going to make us go through. He's wasting his time. He's wasting my time. That's the way I see it. Pulls to the secondary station. Supervisor comes over. The supervisor even says, he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. You know, but he was a nice guy, and he asked the guy like 40 fucking times, are you an American citizen? And the guy's like, by law, I do not have to answer your questions. And he's like, He's like, yeah, but he's like, and you do not have the authority to stop me. And the guy even tries to tell him, like, look, you know, under this statute, you know, we have to have an inspection station here. There has to be agents here, which is my job, and we are required to ask these questions. And he's even trying to lead the guy on, like, look, all you got to do is tell me if you're an American citizen or not. He's like, if you're not, I don't care. You know, he's like, all you have to do is give me an answer, and then you can go. But this guy, he just keeps going round and round and round. And I'm not gonna say everything he says or everything he does in the whole video, but it basically ends up, he does a run around with this fucking cop, and the cop's like, okay, well, you're gonna need to step out. We're gonna need to, you know, search you, search the truck, and go through this whole fucking merry-go-round. And he's like, I'm not getting out of my truck. You don't have the authority to do this, and blah, 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 and shit. He says, he gives him like 100 warnings. I'm gonna bust your fucking window out, and I will pull you through this motherfucking window. He's not as much of an asshole. I'm paraphrasing. But he says, I'll bust out this window, and we will pull you out of this truck. It's on video. You know, we know you're recording us. That's okay, but we're gonna do what we gotta do. You know, and that's basically what he does. Smashes the window out of the truck, unlocks it, yanks this fucking idiot out, pulls his phone out, and all that stuff. You know, and it was all unnecessary. It is so... You know, my point is, like, look, even if you want to go down that route, you want to play that game, you know, now you got a busted ass window. Now you done wasted, you know, they probably held you there for a couple of hours, you know, knowing the way things go. They probably ran all your shit, checked your whole truck. They probably popped your trailer open, popped the seal, and they probably searched the whole fucking trailer. You were probably there for hours. Wasted half the fucking day on some bullshit. You know, you waste them. Now you got to explain to your company why you sat, you know, 13 miles north of Laredo for 4.5 or 5 hours or 6 hours. You know, they're probably calling your phone like, what are you doing? You know, and now you got to explain to them, you got a busted out window you're going to need to get fixed. And they're going to want to know, you know, I'm assuming that this guy, you know, it looked like he worked for Swift. I don't know if he's leased or owner op, but I'm assuming he's a company driver. Now he's going to have to explain, you know, why he's got a busted out window on a company vehicle, you know. And if he explains it to them, like if I was his DM, or if I worked for the company, you know, if it was my trucking company, and you explained that shit to me, I was at the Border Patrol station and I wouldn't answer their questions because I don't have to, and they smashed out the window, I'll be like, turn a truck in and clean your fucking shit out, turn in the truck, get the fuck out of my truck. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Do that shit on somebody else's fucking time. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm trying to run a business here. I don't need fucking employees that are just causing problems and arguing with fucking law enforcement officers and shit and being non-compliant. The root word, comply. That's what you should be to be a productive, safe truck driver, to be successful in this game. Be compliant with all laws and regulations. Why are you gonna? I saw the video, and it's been a little while since I watched it, but I made him make a video about it. It's just fucking stupid, even when you're in your personal vehicle. You know, cooperate, and you may even get a warning. Why you gotta go down this fucking road? To prove a point? To prove a point? To stand on principle? I don't stand on principle most of the time, because I find people that stand on principle all the time, it's fucking illogical. Like, no, it's the principle of the matter. It's fucking illogical. You're causing yourself unnecessary problems when you stand on principle all the time. It's the principle of the problem. You know, I've just small example. I've had to deal with a lot of people throughout the course of my life that were total fucking assholes, unjustified, just total pricks to me, and I was completely nice to them. You know what I did most of the time? If I needed to, I was completely cool, and I was like, okay, I dealt with it. If I need to, I dealt with it. If I don't have to, you know, whatever, dude, fuck you. Then I leave and I walk off. But if it was someone that I was required to deal with, I dealt with it just to make my life easier. I'm not gonna stand here and get into a fucking argument with a manager or a coworker, law enforcement officer, anybody, even my sister. You know, I'm gonna, you know, I know she wants to argue, and I say, you know what, you know, to each his own. Let's agree to disagree. Fuck it. You know, just to make my own life easier. So, you know, I just don't understand that shit. You know, especially as a truck driver, you know, and of course there's a lot of other, you'll find the video on YouTube, there's a lot of other videos out there of YouTube, where there's another one where a guy in his personal pickup truck goes to the Border Patrol station, same exact result. It's the same thing. He doesn't comply, they smash his window, they yank him out of the truck, and he has to go through a bunch of bullshit. You know? You gotta understand that, like, they are protected by the law to do this shit. It don't matter if you're doing anything illegal. You go to the airport, TSA, by entering the property of the airport, you give consent for them to search your shit. You know, whether or not you're doing, regardless of if you're doing something illegal. They can search your bags, they can strip search, they can do whatever the fuck they need to do. You know, same thing, Border Patrol inspection. You know, they are protected by law, whether or not you're doing something illegal, to search your shit and fuck all your shit up, fuck up your day. No, you may not get taken to jail or charged with anything, or you may get taken to jail and then released 24 hours later, but that you just fucked your life up. You just made this big fucking speed bump for you, this big hurdle, causing you problems, costing you time and money, for fucking what? To stand on principle because you had the right to? Look, I'm not saying, you know, give up your rights. Look, I'm a libertarian, man. I believe in fucking rights, you know? But I don't go out of my way to cause problems for myself. You know, fucking, oh, it's your right to not do this shit. Yeah, sure, it's my right not to do it. But what am I gaining by fucking, by employing my right to not comply, to not consent? What am I gaining from it? How is it helping me, you know, to take a shit on my floor? Sure, I got the right to take a shit on my floor. How does that fucking help me? What do I gain from that? You know, so sure, yeah, I believe in rights, you know? I believe that rights should not be infringed upon or taken away. But I don't believe that all rights should be, you should take advantage of and employ all of your rights in every fucking situation. Sometimes you just deal with some bullshit. You go along to get along. So some of you may disagree with me on this shit, but take a look at the video for yourself. Take a look at all these videos on YouTube of people getting tased and getting their windows smashed the fuck out. For what? For fucking what? So they can put the video on YouTube? You got fucking tased? You may even got a charge for resisting arrest? Fuck all that shit, man. But I'm gonna end this video here and just say that, you know? So, you know, you feel differently, you agree with me, hey, you know, fuck it. You know, you're entitled to your opinion. Post in the comments. So, I'll talk to you guys later.